Greetings everybody, Amar here, and I'm doing a little workout on a couple of lines that I have. So this is kind of a live system test, and I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. The only reason why I'm playing New York is because I went to my aunt's house for Thanksgiving, and I wound up doing a multi-draw. So I'm just going to talk about why I made my selections, and if I think that there's any luck for them to still come out. So this is the drawing sense hit chart here in Excel. I'm just going to review what this is really quick. Here are my skips. The skip of the first number, second number, third number, fourth number, fifth number, some of the skips. This is where I look for, there's a flag that I look for within the skips in the last 5, which I haven't updated in a while. Actually, no, I don't put it on this chart. I put it on the other chart. So those are the skips. These are the sums. This is the gap. So if you look at the formula here, it's the gap from the second number to the first number. So there's 4 gaps. This is the date. Let me X this out. This is the drawing number. These are the numbers drawn. And this is the drawing sense hit chart. This is last digits, and this is more last digits. So I've fallen behind. This was back on September 11th. And so we're going to go back down to where we are currently. And so I made a little turkey using the Excel art. So 11/28 was the day that I played. So I did a 7-day multi-draw, and we've gone through 5 days so far. I have 2 more draws. So I made up 2 lines. And the first line is represented by these blue boxes here. So this line is 6. It's 6, 10, 11, 23, and 28. And the other line here is 5, 12, 22, 23, 29. So it's a little bit hard to see here, and you guys aren't using Excel, so I'm going to go to the dish that I used, the drawing sense hit chart that I used in Advantage Gold. So here is the 5, the 12, the 22, the 23, the 29. And here's the other line, 6, 10, 11, 23, 28. And here's the tickets that I played. You can see here it's still Wednesday, December 4th, 2019. And so I'm hoping that the 6 is going to repeat again. Now I picked this line because I was going for the first number to repeat. And you had a bunch of repeats over here with the 6. So let me zoom in here a little bit, hopefully make it a little bit easier to see. So you had here the 6 to repeat. So the second number repeating is my favorite pattern. So you have the first number and the second number repeating. That's why I have this chart over here. It's called the positional repeater chart. Now this is also going back to 9/11. This is where I last played. But you can see you had 16, 8, so you had decreasing 16, 8, and then here was 4, and you had a repeat, so you had a little hot and hitting streak here for the second number repeating. So I didn't know where it was at this point because I didn't use Excel to make my selections. I just know that the second position is the best position to repeat, and the first, the second, and the fifth are the best positions to repeat. That's the best strategy in my opinion. So that's what I did. I went for the 6 to repeat. And then the 10 is a top pair of the 6. And then I used the spread. So I used the Fibonacci sequence, okay, in all my combinations. That's my guide, right? So the 0 is the 0 in the Fibonacci. So the Fibonacci is used, I use it anyway, in terms of skips and in terms of gaps, right? So if I know that the 6 is going to be my first number, 6 plus 21 is going to bring you 27. So that's over here, right? The 27. So that's technically the number that I should have played. However, you can see that it's a cold period. It's a dormant period. And here's an 8, and here's an 11, and here's a 14. So if you're going by her cascade, Gail Howards cascade theory, this is going to be the exhaustion, right? And I don't like cold periods. So I went with here the 28 because you can see it's hot and hitting. is 3 0 2 2 3 0, and then I was going for the 1 1 symmetry. So you have your first number with the 6 and the last number with the 28. And then the 10 I knew it was a pair. I was looking for the 1 6 on the flag. The 11 here I was looking for the 3 3 symmetry. And here I was looking for the 23, looking for a hot skip, 15 6 2, right? So that's the logic that made me come up with that line. So then I said, all right, let me see if I'm going to go 1 off of the 6. So I could have gone 1 off to the 7, but the 7 you can see is also, it's cascading out. It's going up. It's an upstroke. It's an exhaustion. So I went with 1 off here with the 5. So here you had the 4 1 5. 1 5 is a classic flag. You have an adjacent. And then if you use the same strategy, 5 plus 21 brings you to 26. So 26 is over here. I could have done this 26. It was symmetry, 8 7 symmetry on the upside. But I went with the 29 because I know that the 29 is the top pair of the 5. And I thought maybe it would stay hot and hitting, right? It's a 0 1 0 and then 2. And then I don't remember why exactly I picked these numbers. The 23, I think I was going for a hot skip, 15 6 2. 22 was a flag, a 5. Oh yeah, this one was a 6 5 5 2 5. I thought it was going to be symmetry there. And the 12 here, it was a hot skip off of this intermediate 8. So that was the logic I came up between these two lines. Now, Brandy asked me about the dormant periods. How do I go about the dormant periods? Now, in my particular here, my counting dormant periods, again, I use the BYGG algorithm or acronym to illustrate dormant periods. But since I fell behind here, there's no coloring. But I did color in a couple of flags. So I colored in the one here as pink as a flag. A flag here was the 30. So actually at this time, when I played the 28 and 29, I was thinking, man, I should play the 30 because it's a pretty good flag. But I was hoping that these two might stay flag. Here's another flag here, the 22. Here's a 20, and the 14 here is an intermediate flag. And so the last time I was counting dormant periods was over here, where this is 3 dormant periods, this is 2 dormant periods, this is 1 dormant period. And again, that's directly correlated with the big acronym. And then gray here is 4 dormant periods. So I can see right here that the 23 was pretty hot. 3 dormant periods, 4 dormant periods, and then this one here would be 5 dormant periods. It's not colored because I stopped playing. And then you would look for a flag somewhere. Maybe there's a flag under here, I don't know. Or maybe the flag was just here. It was just hot and hitting these 3 hits. And then, so I don't know exactly how many dormant periods we are at right now with the 23. But this is how I actually kind of came up with this idea. It's basically a modification out of the Lottery Master Guide that I had read. So let's go and see back to the Lottery Master Guide here. And I go to the right here, and here we are. Here's your Lottery Master Guide. So a cascade. She says that the cascade is 3 increasingly longer skip periods between wins. The first of the 3 skip periods is relatively short, just a few games, maybe somewhere between 3 and 8 skips. The second skip period is longer than the first, maybe somewhere between 8 and 15 skips. The third and last skip period of a cascade is the exhaustion break, a dramatically longer skip period than the 2 that preceded. So the cascade is increasing, right? So here it is, increase. It's going up, right? Now, so you don't really want to play numbers that are going up. You could win on it, of course. You could get lucky, but logic tells you want the skips to be decreasing and coming down. So that's over here, the reverse cascade. It's the reverse. You look for increasingly shorter skip periods between wins. This usually indicates that a lotto number is attempting to put on the brakes to end its downward trend and become a hot number. Okay, so this is basically what I did. I'm assuming here, all right, she says that the first of the 3 skip periods is relatively short, just a few games, maybe somewhere between 3 and 8. All right, so let's assume that the first skip period is 8. Okay, here you go. And that's the first skip period. The second skip period is longer than the first, maybe somewhere between 8 and 15. Okay, so I wrote it here. 8 and 15, let's assume it's 13, which is between 8 and 15. The third and last skip period of a cascade is the exhaustion break, a dramatically longer skip period than the two that preceded. Let's assume that the longer skip period is a 21. And now you're applying the Fibonacci sequence directly to the lottery. And this is the guide that I generally use. Now, a lot of times I will substitute for 13 a 10. Now let's make another assumption, okay? Let's assume, oh, okay, I put this here. I was trying to do the auto update. This is the one this is the message that you get, right? The website file is apparently corrupted and cannot be opened. Please email, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So I haven't done the auto update yet, and I haven't emailed him because he didn't answer my last 2 emails, and I really don't care because I can take it out of Lottery Post, or I can take it out of the New York State Lottery website. But hopefully Brandy will let us know what the response is from him and if that's fixed. And besides, it says you can do it through favorites to do it, but I haven't done it because I haven't bothered. So, all right, let's not go that way to assume. All right, let's assume. Okay, now the 8. Okay, now the skip 8, I call that an intermediate skip. Now, if I go back to my my big dish, right, you can see here you have okay, this is the number 14 here. All right, let me zoom in, make this a little bit easier to see. All right, so let's see. Okay, so here's 17. Hopefully you can see that good. This is a reverse cascade. This is 17, 9, and 2. Now I call this an intermediate because it's in between the flag skip and the dormant skip, right? And here it went 9, 2, 9. It went symmetry. I call this the intermediate hot skip. Whenever I see this intermediate, I'll generally will try to use it as a power number because it comes in. You can see after 9 is 2, after 9 is 1. Now here's your 8. So you could say here's the intermediate skip 8. So you would think, all right, maybe the 13 will be next. But it actually came out to be symmetry. So you had 7, 8 symmetry on the downside, and then you had 11 here. So 11, this 11 is actually symmetrical. The support is here on the 9. So you could have extrapolated that a little bit. So this would be your streak, and now you reset the dormant count. So I would reset that dormant count here, and I would put that as 1 dormant period, and then I put the blue. Where's the blue? Okay, let me see. Conditional format, clear rules from selected cell. There's my blue. I'll put the bold. All right, so now I know we got 1 dormant period, and I should put a border. Well, I don't like the thick one because then it moves. Anyway, that's just pretty much cosmetic, and I kind of get into I have to do it. So this is now 1 dormant period. All right, so let's go back to the Lottery Master Guide, which is, where was it? It's over here. Oh, okay. Now let's assume that the first skip between 3 and 8 is not between 3 and 8. Let's assume that it's a 10. Okay. Now basically what I've kind of done is I've rewritten what she's said here. Instead of being 3 increasingly long skip periods, I'm saying that it's 3 dormant periods. 1 dormant period, 2 dormant periods, 3 dormant periods. Now, what is the best amount of dormant periods? I don't know. I mean, there is no best, right? Well, there is one best, but the thing is that you may say it's the best, but then it still doesn't come out, right? And I think the best for cold periods would be 5. So let's say you had, well, okay, let me say it this way. The best dormant periods for any particular number depends on the trend for that particular number, okay? So, for instance, the number 1, if we look at the number 1 back on my big dish, here, you had a streak over here, all right? It's not colored pink, but let's color it pink, all right? Here's your flag. So here's a streak here. And now this is one dormant period over here, okay? So here's your one dormant. Let me get a blue. That's bothering me. All right, so let me copy this guy here. I'll bring this blue down. All right, so after this flag, paste special, formats, okay. All right, so one dormant period, and it went back into a flag, right? So basically the trend is what's gonna dictate what you should look for. Now, since I don't know any of the other dormant periods here, all right, let me copy this here, paste special, formats, okay. I want to get the line around the blue. So this is one dormant period. So since I was behind, and you can see and the skips here are not here, so I'm looking. You know, these are flags that I like to look for. I like to find a convergence of flag formations to make my final pick. So I look at basically all the charts that are in Advantage Gold and Advantage Plus. I have them in Excel, but they're modified, and I look at them as far as looking at trying to find flag formations. Now, I did get a question today about the groups. So I look for flag formations in groups too, but again, since this was Thanksgiving and I didn't really have a chance to do a good workout, I did a short workout, and it was kind of funny. I took my computer to my cousin's house, and he's going through a little situation with drugs and stuff. So we go in the house, and the lights are all off, and I said, oh, okay, where's the lights? And it's like dark, and you know, it's just like a tomb, actually. It kind of feels like. So I take out my computer, I put it on the table, I plug it in, and I'm doing a workout. And so I came up with my numbers, and I wound up spilling a fruit punch in the living room floor. Well, actually in the kitchen. So then I had to clean it, and then there was a mess, and the mop was like sitting there for like 3 weeks with old dirty water, and you couldn't, since there was no lights, I couldn't see the water. I just grabbed the mop, and anyway, I digress. So I couldn't play my numbers at that time, but I did get to play later. Luckily, I found the store. Okay, that story really doesn't have to do anything. So anyway, back to the question. So right. So I mean, if I had a good amount of time, I would have gone through the Excel and I would look for more flags. So let's say a flag here. Now I color the pink to look for flags, right? So here you can see a flag formation, group 2, meaning numbers 14 to 26. This is the groups. This is units. These would be teens, decades, more groups. This is groups not hitting. This is groups hitting. So I'm looking for a flag. So here's a flag for 4 numbers low, right? It came in 12, 9. Here's your hot skip after the intermediate. 1, 5 is your flag. 3, 2, 1. So in this instance, you would have had a better chance of hitting numbers by just playing low, because here's a flag. So here's your streak, and now you get into your dormant periods. So here would be one dormant period, and here would be a flag, even though this is a 2, 4, 2, 4, 0. So you could have been waiting to go for 2, 5, and it would have hit it 2, 4, so you would have missed it. Here's your intermediate. Here's a 1. Here's another flag. So I can just say, because I know the spacing between the cells, so I can estimate what's a flag. So here's a 1, 5, 5, and here's a 3, and now you're going back into a dormant period. So here's a dormant period. Here's 1. Here's a technical correction. Here's a second dormant period. And then here's a third dormant period. So this would be the third dormant period. And again, it wasn't a flag, but it was a hot skip. Actually, was it a hot skip? No, it wasn't a hot skip. It was a reverse flag. It came in at 4. So it came in 4, and then this is 6, and this is 3. So 4, 6, 3. So if this flag continues on the low side, then that would be where to look, right? Because you can see this is already increasing to 7. So here's 3, 7 is cascading out, but this is still coming in. This is coming in 6, 3, 1. All right. So this would be equivalent to the 10-game group count, because in the 10-game group count, you can change your group to be 1 through 19 and 20 through 39. So this is similar. So this is also this is low, medium, high. The medium, I kind of was overkill. I overthought it. I should just delete it, but I'm nostalgic about it, kind of, which is kind of stupid because it actually, when I started tracking the mid, I started doing worse with the low and the highs. So anyway, this is more advanced, and I have to update this, but I won't be able to play in New York for a while unless I can play through one of my benefactors. But I'd prefer to send them a little money through PayPal so that I don't feel so uncomfortable them playing for me. But I do appreciate it. So that's one of the flags. So getting back to the Lottery Master Guide. All right, so we're assuming now 3 dormant periods. So if you have this occurrence, 1, 2, 3, always look for a hot skip after this 3rd dormant period. Hop skip being skip 0, skip 1, skip 2, skip 3. Now, the interesting thing is I came up with this adaptation when I tried to get the pick 3 to follow this guidelines. I couldn't get it to fit. The only way I could get it to fit was by changing the amount of dormant periods well, by extending the cascade out, because in pick 3, okay, you could feasibly have like 13 dormant periods before a number gets hot, and that's why it's not good to chase a cold number in pick 3, in my opinion. Now I can prove that with simple charts, but I'm not going to do that now. But that's when I started coming up with this other system for the pick 5, and I feel that it goes well for Lotto and Mega Millions and whatever. So decreasing. So now let's say, okay, so this would be 21, 13, 8. And then you would look for a hot skip again after the 8, right? Because, well, first you would look for a hot skip after the 13. If it didn't come after the 13, you drop it. If it came in again, let's say at 8, you'd go back to the hot skip. So we're trying to go back to the number. So how do we apply this in real time? So we're going to look back and see the selections that I had made to play. Now, I don't know why I put the 23 in both lines, because this kind of makes it a power number wheel. But one of the reasons is because the 23 is a top pair of the 10, and it's a top pair of the 12. So I think that's what happened. So here I was looking for the hot skip. Again, second number repeating. It did not repeat. And since I haven't done the update in gold, which was good, because then I would have had to change the range and stuff. But all right, so let's go back to the big dish and show and see. Well, let's actually, yeah, I should have put. All right, let's go back to the generic dish. All right, so the blue is one line, and let me zoom in here, make it a little bit easier to see, hopefully. Okay, so, and we're going to pull this up here so you can see the 2 lines better. So you have the blue represents one line, the 6, 10, 11, and the yellow represents the second line, 5, 12. And I'm doing it that way because, again, I'm using the same convention with the big. I'm using this algorithm, the blue, the yellow, the green, and the green. That keeps my mind focused to see, okay, when I see the blue, it means 1. When I see the yellow, it means 2. When I see the green, it means 3. When I see the gray, it means 4. So I have it here. Here, this is blue. This is my first group. Here's the yellow, is the second group. Green is the third group. So I'm using that convention, and that way it's kind of like a standard that I can use. And the Gail Howards algorithm, I just explained it to you, but I had to extrapolate on that a little bit. But that's what I use to count my dormant periods. But the best chart to see the dormant periods, I call it the ice pyramid. That's the chart. That's the name I made it for, and I haven't really shared it yet because I want to figure out. I got to figure out how to do a macro to do it fast, because I can do it, but it takes a lot of time. Every variable has that same pattern, that same chart. You're looking for the same dormant periods, but so that's my next step. I have to call Bill Jelen or do one of those Udemy courses, or pay somebody to do it. But I like to do it because I like to be able to explain what's in the chart. And anyway, and I guess I'm afraid of it being stolen, which maybe that's greedy on my part. But once I can do the fast macro and I can do it fast, then it's easier. I'll be more willing to share it because I can just make it on command. You know, people are still going to have a hard time figuring out what I did to make it, but I can just boom, 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 and then it's made. And but the first one I'll make is going to be for Texas, because I am playing Texas, but I played a multi-draw over Thanksgiving because my benefactor in Texas, he left the state, and I was looking for a certain number. But anyway, I'm digressing. Okay, so let's see. All right, so here you have the 15, right? And here is your reverse intermediate. Now I like to color the reverse intermediate this particular blue because it shows that the number is coming in. And then I was looking for the hot skip here. So the first, and these little red circles indicate the numbers that I got right. So I'm not getting a lot of numbers right here. All right, so I'm looking for the hot skip here. So now it would be 9-1. It didn't come in. Now I'm looking for a hot skip 9-2. It didn't come in. This flag failed. This 1-5 on the number 5 failed, right? But it came in the intermediate, the 1-7. So boom, I got the 7. So now I'm hoping for a hot skip on the 5, because the intermediate hot skip is generally a pattern I would always use for a power number. Now the 9-3 here is, again, I'm looking for a hot skip now at this particular time on the 6 and the 5. Okay, now I didn't get it on the 6, it failed. So, but it came in now at 4, right? So, and it came in adjacent, and you see the 7 was an exhaustion. So technically, I would see, this is where it gets tough, because now you start switching your numbers because you're seeing a pattern. I would say, all right, let me look at that. Let me go for the hot skip on the 7. But it's important to know how many dormant periods is the 7 at this point, and what is the trend for the number 7 in its dormant periods over the last 2 years. I like to use the last 720 draws. I think it gives you a good enough picture of what's happening. So now I got the 5. So now I have the 5 and the 6 in both my lines. And now we're both looking for a hot skip. This is an intermediate hot skip. I'm looking for a repeat. So this is now the first number. So if I go back to my positional repeater chart, and again here, this is the blue for the first decade, yellow for the second decade, etc. And this I fell behind. So let's copy this object here. And actually I spent a whole bunch of time deleting videos, deleted some music, deleted a lot of politics. I transferred stuff to flash drives and stuff. So I have about 19 gigs to go, but I'm not going to continue this video much longer for fear that the recorder will have a hiccup, and then the video will get lost. All right, so first number repeating. Okay, so again, I can tell by the pattern here, by the spacing, even without the numbers, where it is. So this is a 1-1. This looks like a 9. This is 1. Here's a 2, 4. Looks like another 9. Here's a 5. Here's a 0, and here's a 5. No, it's a 6. No, whoop, sorry, wrong place. Move this up here. So it's a 0-5. So the positional repeater chart is in a flag formation. It's a 0-5 upstroke. So that's a good auspice. It's a good omen for the 6 to repeat for me in this particular drawing. So the positional repeater chart is showing. So here's the first position. Here you can see here's a dormant period. This is a 4. It's like a 9. Here's a dormant period. Could be another dormant period. And here's a flag formation, fifth fifth position, and 2 numbers repeating is the best pattern also. That also goes into a flag. You can see here, here this is probably a dormant period. Here's a flag, 3, looks like 3, 5, 4, 4. Here's a dormant period. And so this is 1 number repeating, 2 numbers repeating. So these are all flags. Again, here's another flag. So basically, I'm trying to look for the convergence of flag formations, and that's what all these represent. So let's go back to the line, original line. So let me see here. So let's go to the big dish, and let's take the blue for the first line, because the first line is over here, is the 5, right? I'll point it here. Oh, excuse me. And the second line is over here. Copy is the 6. All right, so these are the 2 numbers I'm looking for. So let's do the 6, because the 6 is the one to repeat. So let's go to the big dish, and let's put in the arrow here to indicate the number 6 here to repeat. Here is the reverse. Let me copy this here. I'm gonna, what am I doing here? All right, highlight, I copy, I paste special, format, okay, and then here is, all right, we'll copy this over here. I could do it the other way. I guess it's the same difference, but here you can see how I do it. Paste special, formats, okay. So here's your 6. Now I put in the 6, 10. Here's the other line, the 10. Now the 10 is approaching Fibonacci skip, right? Because 11 is approaching 13. Now 11 also, you look for the symmetry. 11 is upstroke on the 8. You would look for more symmetry down here. Here's your 21, here's your Fibonacci, right? And here's an 11. So if I'm lucky, I can get this 11 to be symmetrical with the current skip of 11. All right, here. If I'm lucky, I'll get this symmetry. This is the support, and I get the 6, 10 if I'm lucky. If I'm lucky, I'll get the spread. The spread is going over to, what did I do? 6 plus 21 was the 28. No, 6 plus 21 is 27. But I didn't do the 27 because it was exhausting, right? But the funny thing is it did come in that particular drawing. It came in at 14. So now this is a reverse flag. It's an adjacent, which is a plus. And what was the other line here? I'm not going to review both lines. You can pretty much see what I'm doing. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. 6, 10, 11, 23, 28. All right, let's see. Go back to here. 6, 10, 11, and then 23. All right, so 23 is over here. It's upstroking 6, 7. It's actually symmetry. It's symmetry on the upside, and then the other one was 11. So 11 is skip 8. So you're hoping here you're hoping for the support off the 10. So I'm hoping for the 8 to be supported off the 10 at this point. So 11 off the 11 over here, the 8 off the 10 over here, the 7 off of the 6 over here, and I'm hoping for an adjacent. And this is, let's see, how many dormant periods is this for the 27? Let's go back and see when was the last time 27 had a streak. Here was a streak. It was a freak streak because there's no real flag to it. There's no 5. There's no 2. It's just 4, 6, 8. So this would mean that this was the first dormant period here, which makes this the second dormant period. So I don't like reverse flags because you see, if you go by skip distribution, and you can look at, there's a chart in gold and in plus, skip 0 occurs the most, skip 1 occurs next, then 2, then 3, then 4. As the skips get bigger, oh, let me see, paste special, let me go formats, okay. As the skips get bigger, there's less of a chance to come in. You'd have to look and see, let's see, paste special, format, okay. Let's change that from blue to yellow. It's for 2 dormant periods. So 4, I will break the rule on 4, because you see 0, 1, 2, and 3, you have to test the hot skip. If that fails, you drop the number. If for some reason you see there's a trend that the number's coming in reverse, then I would play the 4, or I would just break the rule with 4. but then I would drop it at 5, 6, 7, 8 because it could come in at 9. It's better to drop it, watch it come in at 9, and then go for the hot skip again. It's just more economical that way. So that's the first line. And all right, let me put the arrows for the second line. I'm not going to really talk about it too much because again, this is 35 minutes. If you've lasted this long, I appreciate it. So let's see here. Now, if you're on Facebook, you can search me on Facebook. I'm going to put a certain avatar to make it that you can see who I am. But I have a secret group, but it's hard to find. So you have to friend me here, and then I'll have to invite you to the other group. But I digress anyway. So let's see here. But I want to go to a different platform. Maybe Minds, BitChute. And I'm just doing this on advice from other YouTubers that I watch their videos, and this is what they're saying. So I think Minds. I would go to Lottery Post, but I don't like to be censored over there. I feel like he's just kind of bullying too much to a certain extent. You know, he's not allowing for the free flow of ideas. And as a website that is supposed to be news oriented, he should respect the First Amendment a lot more and give more leeway for people to talk and be able to police themselves instead of being a tyrant. But I digress again. All right, so let's see. The next thing here is, oh, I put the 29. Yeah, so here's the 5, 29, and the other line was what? 12, 22, 23. Now, the reason why I put 2 last digit 2s is because 2 last digit 2s occurs a lot in New York. And 2 last digit 1s occurs a lot, and then 2 last digit 5s I think occurs a lot also. But 1s, 2s are the most. So if you see that, that's kind of like a best bet. And you can see over here, in this particular drawing, you had 2 last digit 5s and 2 last digit 6s. But I like to look and see if there's a flag in that particular parameter of 2 last digits occurring twice. And I just made a couple of ice pyramids for that for Texas, but only for the odds because it took a while. But for Texas, since you have such not a lot of data, you know, it's automatically filtered. Otherwise, I'd have to filter it and do 720. But sometimes I just want to look back and see what happened further and further and further and further. There is a way to do that with just the bar charts, but you have to write it in the dormant periods. And that means because the ice pyramids, the strength in the ice pyramids is that you can consolidate like 5, 10 years into one page, right? So that's where it's powerful. So what was it? 5, 12, 22, 23, I think it was. So that's the 12. This will be the 22. This will be the 23. So where's the 12? 12 is over here. So we still have a hot skip, right? You have the 8. So this is the intermediate over here. You had the 8. So that's why I played the 12. So looking for the hot skip. So I got the hot skip, and then you got another hot skip, and now hopefully you're gonna get another hot skip. So you'll get a 1-1 symmetry, hopefully. And then the other one was the 22. This is over here, which is now it's gone into a dormant period. The 10, you're hoping for symmetry on something back here, and then the 23 over here also is, again, it's a 7-6 symmetry, hoping for symmetry somewhere over here. So the only thing that's strong is that this 6 is going to repeat. And then the other thing that's strong is the 10. You can have 11-11 symmetry. And then the other thing that's kind of strong is here an 8-10 symmetry. So that's about it. Questions, comments in the bottom. I'm not sure what else to say. My email is amarghlotto@gmail.com. If you have any questions, I guess that's it. Stay tuned. I'll do a Texas workout. I'll show the ice pyramid for that chart, dormant periods. Maybe I'll try out the lotter. It's $3 for an online, $3.90 for an online bet, which is interesting because New York, an online bet for 3 lines is $7.50 in New York, but in Texas, a 3-line online bet is $3.90. So I don't know the logic of why they did that. I mean, I do like it, and that's why I haven't played the New York Take 5 online. If it was $3.90, I probably would have done it already, but I'm not playing $7.50. Besides, I have 2 benefactors I've been playing in New York, But hopefully I'll go back to New York when I'm all healed up from my two illnesses. But I'd have to stay at my brother's, and I don't want to play the take five. I mean, I would play the take five, but I want to play the pick three. So I have to figure out how to make the ice pyramids with the macro because it works in the pick three also. And I've made it, but I've made it actually in a different way. I've made it in pyramids, right? So without the icicles, but I like the icicles. Anyway, it's a whole lot. So that's about it. Anything else? Anything else? Let's see. Last thing here. Last call. Last call for alcohol. That's it. And beware of the exhaustion break, because the exhaustion break means you're going to exhaust your wallet. You're going to exhaust your money and break your wallet. Robocall. I'm getting an 877 robocall. I don't know why, but it's kind of annoying. All right. Good luck, everybody. Happy number hunting.